Not that good.
Yep.
So I'm going to vamp for a couple seconds. That should be enough of a buffer. So now's the part where I say, "Hi, I'm Trevor, and welcome to Catching Up on Cinema." If you aren't familiar with the program, Catching Up on Cinema is a film analysis podcast wherein we introduce each other to films, expand our cinematic horizons, and, in essence, catch up on our cinema. So it is the month of December 2023, and is once again that very special time of the month wherein we do our very special Tales from the Shelf episode. And in joining me in this endeavor, I have my good buddy Brad from the Cinema Speak podcast. How's it going, Brad?
Oh, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I've got my Santa 3D glasses on for those who are watching video here. Yeah, it's good to be back. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Trevor. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Apparently not as well as you, though, being as you're seeing into the fourth and perhaps fifth dimension right now. How's it feel over there? Is your pineal gland swelling as we speak?
Well, you're supposed to be able to see. It says you can see Santa in every light, and I got one light in this room, and I don't see Santa anywhere.
Make sure you throw back some Negronis and go driving with those on, Brad.
Yeah, I might. Yeah, that might be the problem. I don't, because I tested it out on Christmas Day. I tested it out on the tree, and I could see Santa, but it's not working in here. But anyway.
Okay. Dear listeners and hopefully viewers, if you're not familiar with what's about to happen now, a Tales from the Shelf episode is basically an excuse for Brad and I once a month to talk about our respective film collections. As you may have noticed in the backgrounds of both of our webcam feeds, both Brad and I own quite a lot of physical media. That would be DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K discs. Less DVDs on Brad's end, being as the very thought of that format makes Brad spew in his lap.
Dead format. It's dead.
says Brad. Anyway, every month we try to have a little bit of a theme, serving as like a through line for the discussion over the course of the evening. And today we're just going to be doing a little something we call the Holiday Haul. So basically, we're just going to be talking about movies that Brad and I acquired this holiday season, either as gifts or we're movie collectors. There are sales. We definitely bought things for ourselves. We were selfish little Grinches this holiday season and most definitely bought some stuff just personally for ourselves. So we're just going to be talking about the stuff that we got this holiday season. So now is the time where I do my customary routine of tossing my good buddy Brad directly under the reindeer sled and ask that he be the one to, Brad, could you please share your first holiday haul pick?
Well, should we kick it off maybe with our Vinegar Syndrome boxes? Because I'm like itching to dig into mine.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a special edition, being as this is not something we do or have done on Tales from the Shelf before. But yeah, both of us, actually, both Brad and I are in a position to share kind of in an unboxing style our Vinegar Syndrome pickups from this year. So yeah, by all means, Brad, let's kick it off big and do the unboxing.
So I got my box here. I'll make sure I'll say this side I won't show because it's got my address on it. Don't want to get doxxed. But let's dig in here, a little peek at the box. And let's just kind of go in and see what I got here. The great thing about Vinegar Syndrome is I always forget what I ordered. And so it's almost like it almost is like a gift. It's like you kind of like Secret Santa yourself in a way. So I'm just going to go through because I'm going to guess that all of these for me are never watched. I've never seen any of these. I'm guessing. So I might not have anything much to say about each of them individually, but let's just go through as a whole. So I've got Don't Answer the Phone. I have The Lamp.
Ooh, nice.
I've got, this was one I really wanted to get, and I'm glad I got it. I got Gorgo.
Hey, my boy Gorgo.
Gorgo, which is the British riff on Godzilla, I believe, right? Is that correct?
Godzilla from the land of tea and biscuits.
Yep. On 4K, no less. And I've got here Made in Hong Kong Volume 1, which I think is 3 features that I think are, I don't know if they're all category 3, or at least some of them might be. And then a few more in here. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. We got the Boogeyman 4K. We've got Invisible Maniac 4K. Am I allowed to show that, Trevor? Is that okay?
You're just gonna get us kicked off YouTube. Not a big deal.
Okay, all right. Blame Vinegar. At least I don't have the holographic slipcover that. Have you seen that one? The secret slipcover.
I'm imagining one of those pens where you flip it upside down and the bikini slips off.
100%. Yep.
Gotcha.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was. They did like an April Fool's Day prank where you paid like $10 for like an invisible slipcover. And they were like, "You will get something, even though this is a joke." And I think it was that. I think anyway.
You paid $10 for boobs. Congratulations.
Exactly. I have this one is from the Vinegar Syndrome Labs collection, which is like the Vinegar Syndrome. It's like one of their spin-off labels where it's like movies that don't really fit into the catalog of Vinegar Syndrome, and so it's kind of like just like stuff that they kind of get the rights to, and it's maybe adjacently related. But this one is Kuruku, Beast of the Amazon. So this is my second Vinegar Syndrome Labs release. Both of the first two were like just older films, like older horror films or older sci-fi, but they've kind of branched out even more from that. And then finally, I have a double feature here. I've got Freeway and Freeway 2, Confessions of a Trickbaby. I think both on 4K. And I've heard some wild stuff about Freeway. I'm very excited to check it out.
Yeah, wow. That is quite the extraordinary haul there. Mine is going to be modest by comparison, but man, how do we approach this? Actually, it's funny you end with Freeway because I thought you had already seen that one. Or perhaps I was just thinking of a movie that was like similar thematically or something.
Yeah, I want to say I watched the director who did this. Did I watch one of his films? Because I feel like I did talk about it at some point, but I could be wrong. Because Vinegar Syndrome has been putting out, Matthew Bright is his name, and Vinegar Syndrome has been putting out a good deal of his stuff. No, I haven't seen either of these, but they put out 3 of his films. These 2, he did a Ted Bundy movie, and then the movie that killed his career, Tiptoes. I don't know if you've seen or heard of Tiptoes.
Is that Gary Oldman?
Yes, that is Gary Oldman.
My regular co-host on Catching Up on Cinema, Kyle, he had told me about that a very long time ago. On paper, that movie sounds like a travesty. I can't speak to its actual quality, but it has a reputation.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know if that. I guess it killed his career. I don't know. He is still alive. Unlike in your last episode when you Wolfgang Peterson, his career died because he died. This guy, I believe, is still alive. We're not going to get that confused, but yeah, at least as far as I know. But
yeah. I mean, like I said, as far as I understand, Tiptoes has a terrible reputation, and sometimes that's all it takes. Like what Stephen Norrington in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, as far as I understand, that sunk him. Made Sean Connery walk away from film as a format. So yeah, all it takes is one sometimes. But yeah, I've heard, like you, I've heard some really cool stuff about Freeway. I don't know much of anything about the sequel, but I do know that the first one has quite a lot of surprises to it. Like it's more than the sum of its parts, I guess. Kuruku, I remember when we went over that on a Catching Up on Blu-ray episode, the cover art always jumped out at me. It looks like perhaps like good B-movie fun. I know close to nothing about it, but the ones that I do know a little something about, Gorgo in particular, I actually almost picked that one up myself because I saw Gorgo a lot when I was a little kid. We had
okay.
Yeah, we had a VHS, like a bootleg VHS. I think we recorded it from a library tape or something when I was a kid. And if you followed the show for any length of time, dear listeners and hopefully viewers, you're likely very aware that we got sound effects, Brad.
I love just pulling the,
Yeah, give me some of that in-out
pulling the
action.
goods out. Yeah, very nice. It's got the hard, kind of thick box. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, yeah, premium. Anyway, yeah, I've seen Gorgo several times. Although I saw it on raggedy bootleg VHS quality. So I'm actually really curious how they cleaned it up, because Vinegar Syndrome has that reputation, and that movie has some pretty stunning effects work for its day. Like it is, I think, from the 60s, I want to say, maybe early 70s. But is really interesting to see like the British take on what is traditionally thought of as like a more Japanese format, like in the form of their Kaiju cinema, with like man in giant rubber monster costumes smashing miniatures kind of stuff. It's not something you see come out of that country very often. And now looking back on it, like in retrospect, I have a different perspective than I did as a youngster. Because to me, it's basically really perfunctory, like really derivative stuff. Like I won't spoil the plot, but it's like you have seen this story many a time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the execution of it has some particular details to it that's like, oh yeah, the Brits went through World War II. They got bombed and shit. And like the staging of the monster stuff in retrospect, now that I'm an adult and I actually factor in these things when I watch stuff from back then, it's like, yeah, I think maybe some of the people had that in the back of their mind when they were conveying some of the action and the terror and stuff. So it's pretty good. It's not bad. But what among those, Brad, would you say you are most excited about, though?
Oh boy. I mean, out of these, I'd probably say Freeway, because I've heard Freeway is actually legitimately good, and it's in a trashy way. And it's got a pretty good cast. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland and Reese Witherspoon, they're officially in the Vinegar Syndrome catalog, so that's huge. But I gotta say, I do love the like multi-film sets that Vinegar Syndrome puts out, like the Made in Hong Kong set. Not sure definitely won't be flipping this over. I'm just realizing that will definitely get us flagged. What's on the back of this? Whoa!
We got boobs. We got boobs on the box.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I hope she's being pleased, or she's either being pleased or the opposite. But anyway,
It can be hard to tell with these Category 3 films.
yeah. I mean the title, the Demon Baby, is over her face a little bit, so it's kind of hard to tell. But
Gotcha.
yeah, and I like, it comes with a little booklet here, so I really like these sets. But the movies themselves, I don't know, like I really don't have much familiarity with Hong Kong cinema, Category 3 cinema. But definitely, like, that's one thing I like about Vinegar Syndrome, is a lot of their stuff is blind buys. And I will say that I've learned a thing or two from some of these blind purchases. So I'm definitely excited to check this one out.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, because I don't think I've ever said it publicly or otherwise, but I almost wanted to like pose a challenge to you to begin exploring Category 3 cinema, just because of what I know of your cinematic diet as it already stands. It seems like something that you would be kind of interested in scratching the surface of, and it
Hmm.
looks like you have that available to you now. So enjoy, have fun with it.
Yeah,
Um,
and Ebola Syndrome, I got that as well. So
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's about as good a transition as we can get.
boom.
So, I'm going to give myself the single. I hate doing this, by the way. It feels weird, man, just looking at yourself do stuff in front of yourself. So, I have here a bladed instrument that I'm going to take off the webcam very promptly in case YouTube doesn't like that. But I have here an unopened Vinegar Syndrome box. So, you are going to get a live unboxing here, and I'm going to try not to slice my thigh open and, spurt all over the webcam, because, that's not the live show that we all paid for today. I
Who
hope,
should I call if
anyway.
you cut yourself? Like, is there a person I should call, or just 911?
People don't care about me, Brad. Okay, so I have here the box. It is now open. And. And.
Wait,
It's-
before we get into I mean, I kind of mentioned it, but like you gotta love the Vinegar Syndrome tape, right? Like I always bring that up. You gotta that is a nice touch. Like that's such a nice touch.
Yeah, it's
It
Vincent's tape,
is.
like custom tape, and any business that makes the expense, makes the effort to make their own personalized brand of packing tape. Oh, doing it right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anybody out there from Vinegar Syndrome who might come across this podcast someday, just so you know, you were doing God's work. Like, well done,
Yep.
packing department at Vinegar Syndrome. You need to step on the gas a little bit sometimes, but other than that, you do great work. Single. So I did say I had a brilliant transition opportunity here to pivot away from talking about Brad's shit to talk about my shit. So now let's talk about my shit. I have here in my hands the 4K of Ebola Syndrome, which is
Hell
directed by
yeah.
Herman Yao. And this is starring Anthony Wong. I don't know why I'm looking at the back. There's actually no credit. Nothing. There's nothing there to help you, Trevor. Nobody can help you now. But I do know that this stars Anthony Wong, and this is 4K. And actually, this is a blind buy for me. Not blind in that I don't know anything about it, but blind in the sense that I have never seen it. But I have seen Herman Yao and Anthony Wong's other collaborations, other Category 3 films. I think he did Bun Man, The Untold Story, which does exist in our region on Blu-ray, but not published by Vinegar Syndrome, as far as I know. I have seen that. Big fan of Anthony Wong in general. He's also the villain in Hard Boiled, if you've seen that one, Brad. He's kind of the wild man of Hong Kong cinema. He has a reputation for doing crazy shit on film that not everybody is. Like a lot of times, a compliment issued to actors in film acting is uh, calling them fearless, like saying so and so is fearless in the way they portray themselves on film or the way they comport themselves. That's Anthony Wong. He'll do crazy shit, and he works with crazy people. Anyway, I'm very curious about this film. As far as I understand, it is truly vile. Bun Man had some comedic elements to it, and like it, I don't know, it was rough. It was rough. Like the material was rough, but this one I've heard is like truly nasty shit. So we'll see how comfortable I feel watching this one. This is definitely one that I hope the girlfriend is out of the house when I'm watching it.
No, dude, exposure therapy. You got to have her there for that shit. Like, because then everything after that will be smooth sailing. You know, you can watch Martyrs and it'll be like, oh, at least, you know, this is nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a point about that. You got to build up them calluses, you know.
Now,
We got to jump you from cat 1 to cat 2 to cat 3 right now, ASAP. But yeah, very excited about this one. I take it you haven't watched this one yet either, Brad.
no, I still have it unopened from the last sale.
Oh my! So that's a year ago, folks. In case you didn't know that.
No, 6 months. This was the
6
halfway to
months.
Black Friday sale. Halfway to
Halfway to
Black Friday.
Black. Okay. Not
Settle
them
down now.
teasing
Let's
you.
settle down.
So, folks, occasionally, I think we've done maybe 2 editions of it on Tales from the Shelf. We've done episodes called The Backlog Boogie, wherein Brad and I explore our very large backlogs of films that we have purchased but not yet watched. Are we due for another one of those?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, dude, like I like my backlog. I can't even do the whole backlog. It's like 3 episodes long at this point. Like,
You're gonna
you know,
break your back going through that
yeah,
backlog.
it's just not enough time. You know, it's just like not enough time. When
So
I'm
many
retired,
Blu-rays.
maybe, but
Yeah, so many Blu-rays, not enough time. But anyway, marching right along here. As it so happens, I only have 3 titles here that I picked up in the Black Friday sale from Vinegar Syndrome. All 3 of them are Hong Kong pictures. So it's, all there's a theme here. So I have here in my hands Biozombie, which
mm,
I forget if this is 4K or Blu-ray. Doesn't really matter. This is a movie that I have seen. This is a movie my older brother, introduced to me when I think I was a teenager, like late teens or something. I don't know how he came across it, but he had a DVD of it, and we actually watched it as a family. He roped my mom and my dad into watching it with us. Anyway, this is directed by Wilson Yip, who is a Hong Kong filmmaker who these days, especially to international audiences, he's probably known as the director of the Ip Man films. And his collaboration, his very lengthy collaboration with Donnie Yen. He was kind of his DiCaprio or his De Niro there for a while. They worked together on probably like 7 films, many of which are some of my favorites, if I'm being totally honest. SPL and Flashpoint were life-changing films for me. They really did spin my more personal and specific interest in film. Like they really guided me down a certain path that is kind of where I'm at to this day. So I have to thank him and Donnie Yen for that. But this movie does not feature Donnie Yen, but it is kind of a Dawn of the Dead-ish style zombie film with a very colorful and very zany sense of humor about it. But more importantly, a lot of heart. The ending of this movie punches so far above its weight that it's insane. Like from a writing standpoint, it's like you you gave that ending to that movie. Like you should have saved that, man. Like for when you were working on something else, because holy shit, that was awesome. But it's a fun ride on top of that. But I haven't seen this probably since I was like 17. And again, I've only seen it on shitty bootleg DVD, not VHS. So I'm very excited to see what Vinegar Syndrome did with it, and just kind of interested to check it out. It's been half a lifetime since I watched it.
Yeah, that one I remember when Vinegar Syndrome announced it because I always check out like their monthly releases. That month, like there was a couple months where they put out a lot of stuff that I really didn't know much about, and I really didn't do much research because a lot of times they'll put stuff out, but then I look into it and it's like, oh, this sounds like it'd be up my alley, or oh, this sounds great. But there was like a few months this year where they put stuff out, and I really didn't I fell off the Vinegar Syndrome wagon for a couple months, I guess, because I really didn't do much research. I just was like, oh, Biozombie, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But like, I didn't even know it was the Ip Man guy. Like that makes me interested. Like, I haven't even seen those movies, but it's like, oh, that's that's like, that's a little bit of a qualifier. It's like having Kiefer Sutherland and Reese Witherspoon in Freeway. It's like, oh, now that guy is in the Vinegar Syndrome catalog. There's some prestige there. There's some pedigree.
Yeah, there's been a really big push across not just Vinegar Syndrome, but across like a lot of boutique labels these days to explore uh, Hong Kong and Chinese cinema from earlier, like from the 80s and 90s and stuff. I don't know what's in the air. Like maybe just things are up for grabs when it comes to distribution rights or something, or maybe there's just more demand than there's been. But we're kind of inundated with this stuff these days. Just to backtrack for 1 second, Brad, you brought up a really important point. Is As Brad had said, and I had said, Wilson Yip directed Biozombie. Wilson Yip is, the equivalent of like a blockbuster filmmaker in Hong Kong cinema these days. But he was doing this back in the day, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. Herman Yao was doing this back in the mid 90s. These days, Herman Yao is basically like Hong Kong Michael Bay. Like he's doing like the mainstream friendly blockbuster $100 million action films, or equivalent to like $100 million action films in China and Hong Kong. It's really fascinating to see the path that some of these directors take. Like I don't have any titles in front of me to show off, but Takashi Miike in Japanese cinema, very similar case where he was doing some of those most vile, bonkers, crazy ass shit in direct-to-video Japanese cinema in the early 2000s. These days, he's like the go-to for $100 million anime live-action films and stuff. It's really fascinating to see the path that some of these people take. I just realized that as you were commenting on the pedigree of the director. That's like, yeah, Herman Yao actually kind of same deal.
I mean, Peter Jackson would be a pretty good comparison there. I guess Sam Raimi would be another good one.
Yeah, a very, very good example, actually, in American cinema terms. Because both of them, you look at their early catalog, it's a little different.
Or as you like to say, Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. I always think of New Zealand accent is a closed mouth dialect, and
Okay.
Australian is an open mouth dialect. That's
Pretty
that
good.
for some reason that's what comes to mind is talking here, Peter
Pretty,
Jackson.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure if there's any listeners from that region of the world, they're tearing their hair out right now. So I have a last one here that I believe this is a 4K, and it comes with a hard case.
Ooh.
So Brad just 2 drops of pee came out just now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is Righting Wrongs, which I actually forget who directed this, but this is headlined by Yun Biao and Cynthia Rothrock, the queen of, I mean, the current queen of boutique labels these days. Like her catalog is just being churned out left and right by so many publishers of Hong Kong cinema. This one I'm very curious about because it's like a cops and robbers kind of Hong Kong cop thriller. Big fan of that. For some reason, like when it comes to martial arts cinema, I'm not a huge fan of like the wuxia kind of like fanciful like mainland Chinese style of choreography. For some reason, what really gets my jollies is martial arts in contemporary settings, like people wearing leather jackets and using guns in between punching each other in the face. For some reason, like contemporary martial arts is what really works for me the most. So this is like a cops and robbers thriller, has a good cast. And it might be, this is kind of embarrassing for someone like me to say, but I think this is the first Yun Biao headlined film that I've ever seen. So I haven't watched it yet, never seen it before. I always think of him as being one of the Three Musketeers, one of Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Yun Biao. I always think of him as part of that trio, rather than like somebody that I watch on his own. Big fan though. I love his work. And in fact, I think he's like on the comeback trail. Like I seem to remember seeing like a trailer or something showing him like in a contemporary film, like to be released in 2024, or maybe it came out earlier this year. I'm not sure, but anyway, that was my Vincent Hall. Not too shabby, if I do say so to myself.
Very nice. Let me ask you. I believe is Righting Wrongs. That is a VSA. I want to say. So does it have a number on the top? Is it a?
Yeah, let me hold it up.
Oh,
Uh,
no. I'm talking to the very top. The very top.
oh,
Is there a handwritten number?
no, there is no sticker.
Oh, okay. That must not be VSA then. What does it say on
The
the sign? Is it just VS?
VS 400.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I was
so
thinking that was VSA. That's
I think the only one of those I
embarrassing.
have is a Champagne and Bullets.
Yeah. Strike that from the record. Delete that, please. That's embarrassing.
No, it's staying in. This is live. Sorry. Anyway, that being said, Brad, what is your next holiday haul pick?
Well, I guess let me just get this out of the way now. Like before I get into things that were given to me, I'll do one last thing that I purchased, if that's cool.
By
I've
all
got a
means, man, go for it.
somewhat small, but kind of large Severin haul. So let me grab that for a second here.
I'm just gonna vamp while you pick your ass.
I got it. So, first of all, I have taken it out of the box, but nice little Severin sticker.
Ooh,
They don't
very
have tape,
nice.
but they give you a sticker. Now, I got 3 things. One of them is a little bit of a big boy, though. I got the 4K of Blood for Dracula, which is a companion piece to Flesh for Frankenstein, both directed by Paul Morrissey, and I think like produced by Andy Warhol or something because it says Andy Warhol presents.
Oh,
But yeah, and Vinegar Syndrome put out Flesh for Frankenstein. I don't have that one yet, but this one I wanted to get because first of all, I like Dracula, and one thing with Severin, their website doesn't track how many limited editions are still available, so I didn't want to miss out on this one. So popped on that one. I also got a 4K of a movie, Faceless. Faceless, which I don't know much about, but I do know that it's directed by Jess Franco. And Jess Franco Trevor, I don't know if you know about Jess Franco, but he's kind of like in the vein of Cynthia Rothrock. Like these boutique labels are just pumping Franco out. And I really don't know much about him. There's another YouTuber that does a lot of Blu-ray stuff, Michael Keane, who he is a big Franco-phile. He's a Francophile. And it seems like Franco has done like so many, like a range of movies from horror to action. And I'm pretty sure he's done straight up like pornography, which is also being put out by some boutique labels. So, I mean, you've got a whole spectrum there. This one, I think, is one of his more mainstream films, from what I understand. I think it's kind of a horror film. I really don't know much of what it's about, but I do want to see some more Franco. And then my last thing, which I have been putting off for a while because it was pricey, but finally, I think it might have dropped to their lowest price they've had it ever. Maybe, I don't think it was 50% off, but it was like pretty good deal. I bought their big box set, All the Haunts Be Ours, which
Whoa, that is a
is,
handsome case.
yeah, so it's a compendium of folk horror, as it says, and I believe it's like 12 movies,
Holy
all in
shit.
the folk horror genre. And there's a documentary in here that I think Severin produced themselves, which covers like a documentary about the folk horror subgenre. So that's in here. I think it's called All the Haunts BRs actually. And then there's 12 Blu-rays in here, 3 CDs, 20 movies over 12 Blu-rays. I'm kind of curious to dig into this because I've seen some folk horror films. Um, haven't like really seen that many. I've seen The Wicker Man. I've seen one film that's in this set. I've seen I can't remember the name of it. The Ben Wheatley one, A Field in England. I've seen A Field in England. So yeah, I'm definitely like looking forward to checking this out. Like, it was a thing where it's like, man, there's all these sales happen at the same time of year. It's like I got Christmas shopping coming up. I'm going on vacation. Do I want to drop all this coin on this box set? And I thought about it and I was like, if I find out that I missed out on it, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. So I said, just buy and forget about it. Buy now. Like I said, you'll never regret the things you buy. Never regret the things you buy. Nope, you regret the things you don't buy. I've never once regretted buying a movie. Never. So buy, buy, buy.
Bye, bye, bye. You heard it here, folks. You never regret what you buy. Wow.
I truly have never regretted buying it, other than maybe like food. That's why I'm like, buy the cheapest shit you can.
Yeah, why did I buy that $5 mac and cheese when I could have easily bought the $1.99 one?
Exactly. Like I had a Greek salad today, and there was like the green peppers like ugh, they didn't taste great. There was like a lack of olives in it, and I'm like, what, why did I spend $10 on this salad? I should have just gotten a Big Mac.
Yeah,
Jeez,
it has iceberg lettuce in it.
that's what I get for trying to be healthy.
You get your fiber.
Yeah.
Shit. Wow, that is quite the haul there, Brad.
So
From Severin, you said?
yeah, yep. And I don't buy from Severin every sale. I'm not as into them as Vinegar Syndrome, mainly because like the movies they put out aren't like quite as up to my tastes, I guess. But they do put out some really good stuff. So I did pop on this sale on a few things.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I personally don't know much of anything about Jess Franco either, but I do remember you mentioning him before.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked him up just now, and as I was skimming over his filmography, I was like, "Oh, that's that funky guy that Brad was talking about a
Yeah.
long time ago."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you pulled the trigger on that because now you can start exploring that. You can get a feel for what he's about, what his rep is. So that's
Yeah.
really exciting. That's
Yeah.
like cracking open a whole new can of worms for you. So you've got Category 3 and Jess Franco, brand new experiences for you to look
A
forward
lot to
to.
explore. And I also got some stickers, which I think I got because of the folk horror set, I'm assuming.
Ooh,
So I got all these stickers from the order, which is again very nice touch. Very nice touch.
Where do you end up putting those? I end up putting shit like that on my laptop, like on the back of it.
I usually just put them on, like, the top of one of my shelves and never touch them again.
I have a drawer. I use a drawer
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, yeah.
But holy shit! I mean, I hate to say it, but even if you never open that folk horror box, that is quite the display piece. That is a coffee table book unto itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there is a book there. Yeah, it does come out with a booklet. Maybe I should put that on the coffee table. Maybe
Oh,
that's
you gotta, Brad. You gotta. I mean, you gotta just put it in the middle of the coffee
yeah,
table. And,
yeah.
anybody gonna ask about the folk horror book? Anybody?
Yep, yeah, yeah. Instead of having to drag people into this room to tell them about it, I can do it out there.
Yeah, I don't know how you are about your room, air quotes your room. I'm like really cagey about mine. It's like I don't invite people up there. The only people that have been in this room, Brad, are the girlfriend and people that the girlfriend has insisted on bringing into it.
Okay.
I don't do that. She does. I never say no, but I'm like, It's
Oh,
like,
yeah. I'm the opposite. You get a couple Negronis in me, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta show you this, Vinegar Syndrome set I just bought. I gotta I gotta
that's
show you the
awesome.
Hellraiser, Arrow 4K set I bought."
Well, see, that's the you never regret your purchases. No shame.
Exactly.
I wish I could borrow some of that verve. But yeah, that is quite the haul, man. One of these days, I don't think I own a Severin film. One of these days, I'll have to dig through their catalog
You
and see
said
if.
it yourself. "Ah, you gotta buy something, dude. Ah, dude, what are you doing?" Like, come on, dude.
I do love the cover of that Dracula one though. Is that Udo Kier I saw on there?
Yeah, yep.
That noise that we've been making, dear listeners, and hopefully viewers, that noise we've been making, that would be the visual aid that goes with
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you wanna even better, you wanna see the back of this?
Yes.
It's nothing, R-rated, but it's
Okay.
very
Thank
getting
you, by
there.
the way, for self-regulating. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
glad that they cut the frame there
We're
because
getting there,
otherwise we
but
would have issues.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, by the way, for keeping an eye out for the nipples and whatnot, because that would be a problem.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those.
You gotta, especially when you're dealing with Vincent.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so I don't have anything else to share that I bought for myself, although I am in the middle of like eyeing some price tags for some contemporary releases that I very much would like to buy. I just rewatched the Equalizer film, so it's only natural that I would want to pick up that third one, round out the trilogy and whatnot. Same goes for the Expendables 4, although I haven't heard much of anything good about that one. But I'm just like considering clicking the add to cart and buy button on both of those. But yeah, the other than the Vincent ones, I don't have any films I bought for myself, so I'm just going to roll right into things that were gifted to me. And just to keep things lean, Brad, because it does seem like we're kind of we got some momentum behind us, and we're doing a lot of multi picks. I'm actually just going to spread this out into two,
Mhm.
just two different families that I received gifts from. So I have here in my hands movies that I received from my family. So this would be my parents, um, and I have three here in my hand. So these are all Blu-rays, no 4Ks. And I have here in my hand one that I actually considered taking off of my wish list, but now I own it, so it's like I have it. So oh well, too late. I have from everybody's favorite Mill Creek, um, Ultraman versus Red King, part of the Battle Kaiju series, which is a brand new concept launched by Mill Creek, who hold the license for distributing Ultraman media in the US. Um, Basically, what this is, and they've just announced Volume 2 in this collection. Um, what this is a compilation box. So there's 16 different episodes of Ultraman television in this, spread out across decades of Ultraman TV series. So what this is a compilation of, I think, every time Ultraman has fought the monster Red King across the entire franchise. So not just the original TV show, but like every Ultraman TV show up till now. And it just so happens that a lot of Japanese media, tradition is kind of a very common thing with long-running Japanese media franchises. Repeating themselves is a thing that they do. It comes from a place of, it's a positive thing. It's paying tribute to what came before, through the repetition of it. It just so happens that Red King is one of those classic Ultraman monsters that debuted in the 1966 television series that just keeps showing up like seemingly every time they do a new TV show. So there's been countless iterations and reiterations of the Red King monster, such that we have 16 different episodes of television featuring Ultraman fighting Red King. Um, the second volume has just been announced, very recently, and it's only natural that they would do Baltan, Alien Baltan, he looks kind of like a cicada. He's like a big alien cicada.
I like that.
Yeah, cicadas are cool. Like if you've ever seen a macro photograph of a cicada's face, coolest shit in the world. And the noise they make, it's cool. And their life cycle is cool. Cicadas are just fucking cool. Anyway, Baltan looks kind of like a bipedal alien cicada, and he's also like one of Ultraman's nemesis. He's like one of the more famous rogues from his gallery. And now comes the part, Brad, where I get to ask you if you. Oh, excuse me, I muted myself.
We lost you there for a sec.
Yeah, I apologize for that. So I'm going to ask you, Brad. There's a clip of Japanese television wherein Guillermo del Toro it meets a man in a Baltan suit. Have you seen this?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, you gotta look it up, man. It's pretty great because he looks like a kid in a candy store. Like he looks like a dream just came true. Like he basically says out loud, like Baltan's my favorite, and now I get to meet him, and he gives him a big stupid hug. It's adorable. I mean, Guillermo del Toro as a person is adorable, but that clip is heartwarming shit. And also, that's a good opportunity for you to see what Baltan looks like. Oh wait, I think he also meets Pigmon, or maybe he only meets Pigmon. I might be speaking directly out of my ass. Anyway, Pigmon he's kind of like a pinkish guy with like big floppy lips. Anyway, I will move on so as to not make a fool of myself.
I'm watching the clip right now. He's
okay.
He's losing it. He is losing it. This guy.
Yeah, he's fanboying out.
He's like crying.
Yeah, he's having a great time. He's meeting his hero.
He looks good. When was this done?
If I had to guess, around the time of like Pacific Rim, so like what,
Okay.
2013, around there.
He looks good. Holy crow!
I mean, he's so jolly. Like even if he was in poor health, he wouldn't be able to tell.
But he looks like I mean, he's still a bigger guy, but he looks like fit in this video. Like he looks good. Like
he's all bricked up.
Yeah, he got in shape to meet Baltan.
Well, I mean, you don't want to look like a fucking slob in front of your heroes.
True. Yeah, he is well dressed. So
okay, well, moving on. I have, like I said, I have 3 in my hand right now. So these again were all gifts from my family. I have here Katsuhiro Otomo's Memories. Now, Brad, have you heard of this one at all? I've probably talked about it before.
Yeah, I think you've talked about it. What did you have the DVD before or something?
I did. I still do, but this is the Blu-ray, and this comes to us from Discotech Media, and they actually do a really good job with their restorations of animation. So I'm actually really keen on watching this because this is a collection of 3 short animated films. Katsuhiro Otomo is the fellow that did Akira and Steam Boy. And beyond that, he, for some reason, anthologies seems to be like his wheelhouse. Like in the intervening years, like that's where most of his work has gone towards, is just kind of like bringing together the most talented animation directors in Japan, giving them all the resources in the world, and then asking them to do really, really ultra ambitious animation projects. And so like from a narrative standpoint, it's like, it's not lengthy stuff. It's all just, usually there's like a core visual concept or technical concept that they're trying to convey with each of their films. Like one of them is called Stink Bomb. And as far as I can tell, like a big concept guiding like the animation principles behind that short are crowds. Like the number of moving hand animated figures in each frame of that is staggering. and the amount of frames dedicated to each of those figures is very impressive. There's another one called Cannon Fodder that if you see the behind the scenes of it, um, they painted a background that's like 50 feet wide basically, and the camera traces a path of movement across it, for like a tracking shot in hand-drawn animation, and it's hugely ambitious, like ludicrously ambitious, and that's kind of sums this one up. It's a technical showcase, such that like I don't know if your buddy Matt would be interested in something like this, but if you're just into like art and aesthetics and just animation as a medium, this is pretty cool stuff. Definitely worth checking out just for the lights with sound
Can you
aspect.
wait? Can you hold that up one more time for the camera?
No, here you go.
I'm gonna send this to Matt.
Oh,
All
my
right.
my ugly mug with this.
Yep. I'm gonna say Trevor recommends this movie to you. Also,
I mean, I don't know him, so maybe that's a bad idea.
yeah. Well, I don't care. He's gonna watch it and he's gonna like it.
You're gonna watch it.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Specifically, I don't want to get too personal. You don't have to give any names. You certainly don't have to give any last names. If you want to give a nickname, that's fine.
Yeah.
Who specifically gave you that?
Oh, that was my mom.
Okay, I'm gonna look directly in the camera right now. Trevor's mom. Thank you for finally getting this guy to upgrade a freaking DVD. Thank you, Trevor's mom. Holy crow. Guy, Trevor's mom. You're looking for gifts for the future for Trevor? Just go in his collection. Any DVD, look up if it has a Blu-ray and get it for him. Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, Trevor's mom. Write to Lionsgate or whoever owns the distribution rights and disc publishing rights to Bloodsport 2, 3, and 4 and request that they print Blu-rays of them so I can upgrade my collection. This comes not just from me, this also comes from Brad, my dear friend. and transmission.
Yeah. Did you like specifically like was she like what can I get you for Christmas? Like did you specifically say memories on
No,
Blu-ray?
I have a public Amazon wish list that I use as
Oh,
just like a checklist for myself. Like it's
okay.
just a constantly circulating list of items that whenever I get something, not necessarily from Amazon, but whenever I pick something up, I just remove it from the list. So I've had things that have been on there for 5, 6, 7 years or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so I guess she just said, fuck it. Memories. We'll go with that one. I mean,
cool.
she has an eye for aesthetics. Like
Yeah.
she did go to art school and stuff. So she probably like looked at the cover art or something and was like, yeah, that looks interesting. That looks compelling.
Because I've learned like my mom will always say, "Oh, what can I get you for Christmas? What do you want this year?" And I've learned to me personally, I always like because I don't have an Amazon wish list or anything like that. I tell her like I always throw out like a mainstream movie. Like even though she orders pretty much all the stuff online, I only pick like a movie that I know she could like get if she previous to now could like walk into a Best Buy and it would be on the shelf. You know what I mean? Because like one year, she was like, "Well, what kind of movie do you want?" And I was probably in my early 20s or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, well, I really want this movie from the Criterion Collection." And I was like, if you buy it through Barnes and Noble through this time period, like it'll be 50% off. And I had to like walk her through the whole thing, and I was like, "What am I doing?" So I've avoided that from here on out. She did get it for me though. She did great, but.
Yeah, Ma, get me Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah. I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to ask you to pay full price for Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets on 4K Criterion, okay? Like, okay, I'm not going to ask full price for that. I'd be robbing you blind.
It's funny you mentioned that because I actually sat the girlfriend down and had a talk with her, and it was about Vinegar Syndrome specifically, where I explained to her that we love Vinegar Syndrome, but we don't buy from Vinegar Syndrome unless there's a sale.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not done. Like that's just a faux pas in this house anyway. I
Or
can't speak for all collectors, but in this house.
yeah. Or I would say if the slipcover is running out, because I will buy full price if it's my last opportunity to get the limited edition slipcover. I've done that before. But
Okay.
Criterion, there's no limited editions. It never runs out. So that one you never buy full price. You'd be crazy. Never.
Yeah, I think I actually did include Criterion in that. I did. I
Yep.
did. I did tell her that as well. That it's like we love Criterion. We we love Criterion, but we don't buy Criterion unless it's Black Friday, basically, and unless they're running their 50% off sale. Looks like my buddy
Is that
Kyle,
Kyle? That's amazing.
my co-host on the podcast, just dropped in to tell us I trusted my nana to purchase a Criterion for me for Christmas. She got it on DVD, not Blu-ray. I don't
That's
know why I just
amazing.
read that in the Harrison Ford Blade Runner narration voice, but it kind of works. Sorry, bud. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I had that happen where I think my dad got me an NES, like an 8-bit Nintendo, a
Mm.
quote regular Nintendo controller during the time period where my brother and I were very invested in the Super Nintendo.
That is no way that's true. Did he really?
It's a thing that happened, Brad.
That is so.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like, is anybody gonna say anything? It's like, no, it's just shut up and take your controller that you're never gonna plug in.
Yeah, well, yeah, I should say
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
laughing at. I was laughing at Kyle's sallow. I wasn't reacting to the. Sorry if there was confusion there.
So context for the people
Sorry.
listening. We just read on the air that Kyle received a DVD, not a Blu-ray, from his grandma, for Christmas, and said DVD was the motion picture film Sallow. Was it 90 or how many days of
120,
Sodom?
I think. 120, I think.
120 days. Basically, one of the most vile pictures committed to film. Thanks, Gam Gam.
That's amazing. That is
That is
amazing.
kind of amazing. Thanks for sharing, Bud. And by Bud, I mean Kyle, because I call a lot of people Bud.
That might be my favorite. That is one of the best, like, physical media. Okay. I was gonna say. Okay, he's kidding. It wasn't Sallow. Okay.
Correction, it was Three Fantastic Journeys by Karel Zeman, which I believe is a Czech filmmaker. Kyle actually lent that one to me, and it's spectacular. There's a lot of contemporary filmmakers that more than likely have seen his films and definitely borrowed some elements from. Really cool stuff, like really fascinating visual presentation.
I'll check that out. My grandma, she just gave me some cash, so maybe I'll spend it on that. So it'll be like she gifted it to me.
It's cool. No, I mean, can confirm. Like
Yeah.
Kyle owns it. He lent it to me. Watched it. It's pretty cool stuff. I think I held on to it for a weirdly long amount of time, though. Sorry. Okay, and last thing, I'll just zip past this because honestly, I don't have that much to say about it. But again, a gift from my parents. The Big O, which your boy Santino is probably familiar with, being as this aired on American airwaves on Cartoon Network via Toonami, I believe. And kind of interesting story behind this one. Again, I'm not going to talk forever about this, but I think one of the animation houses that worked on the Batman the Animated Series also had a hand in making this. Has a really fascinating like Art Deco kind of aesthetic to it. But apparently it wasn't a very big hit in Japan, in its native Japan. So they shipped it off here and they aired it on TV, and it actually garnered like decent viewership, such that they actually recommitted to like continuing the series. Like they actually, when they initially produced it, they actually kind of cut the episode count short because it wasn't doing well. But then, on the strength of its reputation abroad and to international audiences, they commissioned like an entire second season. And I've heard very mixed things about that second season. Like the animation technique transferred from hand drawn to like from purely hand drawn to digital painted cell images, and the aesthetic of it just kind of got ruined by that. But I started watching this when I was like, a youngster, when I was like 13, 14 or something. Never finished it. Always thought it was cool. So this is my opportunity to go back and finish it. Kind of excited about that one, actually.
Yeah, looks pretty cool aesthetically, and it looks like it's only 2 seasons I saw.
Yeah, it's not very long, and the the episodes that I did see, pretty fucking cool. Really amazing soundtrack, by the way. Very bizarre. The theme song of it is like a dead ringer for Queen's Flash Gordon song.
Mm.
Such a bizarre thing to pull from. Like if you're gonna ape something, that is an oddly specific thing to ape, but it works for what it's worth.
I thought you were gonna say the King of Queens theme song. I thought that's what you were gonna say when you mentioned Queen, but that's good. That's cool too.
Okay, so that's it for stuff I got from my folks. So Brad, I'm gonna kick it over to you. What is your next holiday haul pick?
Um, well, I've got a few things, and I've got a mix of birthday and Christmas because my birthday was in the month of December as well. So I'm just gonna kind of throw everything in one. And I'll do a batch of three as you did here. Couple. I think first one of these was a birthday gift. The other two I think were Christmas. But um, I got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse on 4K, which I am looking forward to revisiting. I probably will revisit it very soon in potential top 10 best of the year list preparation. Um, I really want to revisit this because I remember really loving it while I was watching it, but the ending really soured me on the experience. And I don't know, it's really like the more I've been, distance myself from it, that ending is kind of the one thing that I've sort of taken away from the movie. And I kind of want to go back and remind myself why I loved everything leading up to it. So we'll see. Might not make my top 10. It might. I don't know. We'll see. Something that maybe controversially could make my top 10 if Spider-Man doesn't is another animated film that I loved from this year, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I just had so much fun with. I loved the animation style, like I did with Spider-Verse as well. But I'm not a big turtle head either, and I just thought this had some really cool, memorable sequences, some like inventive action sequences for an animated film as well, and kind of felt like it was a little bit overshadowed by Spider-Verse, even though I really enjoyed this one almost as much, maybe as much, maybe more so. Unfortunately, was did not come with a slipcover. Um, I thought about saying something to my mom on Christmas, but I was like, oh, we'll save that till later. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. And then the last one I have here, another blockbuster, which was kind of an unexpected surprise. The new Dungeons and Dragons movie, Honor Among Thieves, which I have no interest in Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, this movie's gonna be stupid, and it was like a ton of fun. I mean, it's like very by the numbers and like formulaic, but like in terms of making a blockbuster that is sort of like a by the numbers kind of fantasy, modern day sort of blockbuster action movie. It's about as well done for one of these as you could do. Like there's a sequence involving portals in here that I thought was amazing. And maybe it honestly might have the hardest I've laughed in a movie theater this year. Like there was one moment that I genuinely like LOL'd at like out loud. And that doesn't happen much anymore. My cynical brain doesn't allow me to laugh at much. So this one kind of snuck up on me. And yeah, I had a ton of fun with all of these movies. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking them out.
Yeah, nice picks. I actually have seen only part of Dungeons and Dragons, and I haven't seen the other two. That would
Mm-hmm.
be the sequel to Spider Verse and the Ninja Turtles movie, which, like you, I've heard really good things about. Actually, almost most drawn to the Ninja Turtles one because there was a time period when I was super into turtles. Like, it's not something I've kept up with. Like, it's not something I've retained much interest in. It was just kind of like a kind of magical brief period of my early childhood. But I've heard that one in particular has a lot of a lot of heart. Like a lot of the child performers that they got for the turtles themselves, like really they pick them well and they have good chemistry as vocal performers.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, like the cast of characters is literally your toy box spilt out on the floor. So for like someone like my age or my older brother's age, it's probably quite a lot of nostalgia pop that comes with just seeing your action figures from when you're a child like on screen. Um, Very curious about that one. I I'm like I was really impressed with the first Spider Verse film, but now that I know that there's a third one like coming hot on the heels of the second one, I'm in no hurry to watch the second one. I'll just wait until everything's out because I did hear that that second one, just by the time you get to the end of it, I guess it wasn't advertised properly and people felt kind of rubbed the wrong way by it. Um,
Yeah. It ends in like such a weird point. I don't know. Like it, and I keep going back. I've said it before, but the Mission Impossible movie this year, while it was one of my least favorite of the franchise, that franchise is just so good that this is still just such a movie. I'm still praising it. That like in terms of like the movies this year that we've been getting a lot of part like ones and a lot of movies split into two. Again, that's the only one where it ends and like it's like okay, it feels like a part one, but we got a full movie. Like Spider Verse like ends like mid, like not mid scene, but like truly, I didn't even expect it to end there, even knowing that it was going to be a part one. It like kind of like I was like, oh, that's the end. Oh, okay. Or Mission Impossible, you get to the end and it's like that makes sense. That was the climax of the movie. That's the end. The story will continue, but we're good. So yeah, I don't know.
yeah, like I said, like listening to your review on it and like reading elsewhere, it does sound like it. By the time you get to the final act, it did kind of rub people the wrong way. As far as I've heard, it's pretty great up until then.
Hmm.
And the just on a technical level, like that first movie was a game changer. Like definitely. Like I don't say that lightly. Like there's a reason why the Ninja Turtles movie looks the way it does, and Puss in Boots 2, or was it 2 or 3, looks the way it does. It's because I have to guess Spider Verse kind of kicked the door down for like, hey, let's change it up. Let's do some different techniques. Because for a while there, things were getting kind of samey. We were getting a lot of like standard Pixar, Disney, Illumination style figures and characters and styles of movement and stuff. But then Spider Verse and other movies of its ilk have kind of really changed things in that regard. And it's exciting. It's really cool stuff just from an aesthetic and technical standpoint. But um, Dungeons and Dragons, I didn't see all of, but I was pretty impressed. Like I thought it was pretty good. The girlfriend watched all of it. It was a plane watch for her, but she finished it at the house with me on the couch with her. So I saw like the last half hour of it basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and the main thing that they nailed with that I have people in my orbit, like in my social circle, who actually are into D&D and tabletop RPGs and stuff. I've never done it myself, like other than like play testing a thing for a friend. I've never done like a traditional D&D session, but I have a lot of people around me that are into it. Um, they were pretty happy with it. Like, and they're kind of snobby when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like if they had done something wrong with it, I would have heard about it. But
Hmm.
most of my friends really liked it. And the thing that they all cited was the cleverness of it. And the, the usage of like of the iconography. Like they really do utilize the license to the furthest degree that you can. But moreover, the cleverness of it was what impressed them, because that's what D&D oftentimes is. It's not I walk up to thing and hit it. It champions out of the box thinking. And I even only seeing like the last half hour of that movie, I could see that a lot of the action and a lot of the set pieces were coordinated in such a way that's like let's do something a little unconventional here. Let's do something somewhat unexpected that requires a degree of cleverness in order to pull it off. So they did it. Like I know that there's probably plans to make another one. I'm curious if they're going to continue using the same characters or if they're going to take that concept for a walk and just have a new party with a new adventure in a new region or something, because it is such an expansive media franchise that you can do whatever the fuck you want with it, honestly. But it's kind of cool that I would never have expected that to be good, but it was. It actually was.
Yeah, I remember actively thinking it would be bad just because it's like that's gonna be stupid.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I thought.
but it is made by the guys who did Game Night, which was kind of a pleasant surprise as well. And yeah, it knows what it is. Like it's just trying to be a fun fantasy adventure movie, and it's not going for anything higher than that, which I think is key. And yeah, so the last half hour, did you see the part with the portals that I'm talking about? It's kind of like maybe right on the verge of where you might have tuned in.
I don't know if I saw that. I
Okay.
think they were in a maze like when I
Oh
got
yeah,
there.
yeah, yep. Yeah. You got to check out those portals, dude.
Okay.
Dude, you got to check out those portals, man.
You gotta check out those portals, dude.
Come on, dude.
Okay. Well, I only have two more picks here, and I'm going to do them all in one. So this is my last at bat here on this edition of Tales from the Shelf. So I have here, these are things that were gifted to me by the girlfriend's family. So this would be her parents and her brother, which was a Secret Santa thing. And it was really obvious that it came from her brother. Anyway, the one I got from her folks is one that I put together like a list of reasonably priced things. I was like, get me anything on here. I don't have it. It'll be good. Um, I have here Dragons Forever on 4K in
Ooh.
one of those hard cases
Is that
from
88 Films?
88 Films. They
Oh.
do good work. These are the same folks that put out Super Cop, Police Story 3, that Brad and I reviewed for the Cinema Speak podcast. I think we both have this on 4K from 88 Films. That would be Super Cop, not Dragons Forever. We are big fans of 88 Films here, and they're somewhat of a recent arrival in our region in the US. But they are doing the Lord's work. They're putting out good stuff. I am a little frustrated that we got this, which I like, but we did not get Wheels on Meals, because that's the one I actually want a little bit more than this one. But I know they've put it out in the UK, just not in our region yet. But Dragons Forever is directed by Sammo Hung. I believe Kor Yuen also has some involvement in this one. I don't know what degree, like if he was co-director or if he helped with the martial arts choreography or what he did on set, really. But it does kind of have his fingerprints on it a little bit. But I did mention the Three Musketeers earlier on this podcast. This film actually features them. You have Jackie, you got Sammo, and Yun Biao, the Three Musketeers, as well as their buddies, I think from the Lucky Stars comedy troupe. I think some of them pop up in here as well. Um, but like the main reason this one is like important to me is this fella here on the cover, Benny the Jet Urquidez. It used to be back in the day before SPL and Flashpoint, before the early 2000s, basically in the world of martial arts cinema. If you Googled, before we made as much use of Google as we do today, if you Googled best fight scene, more than likely you'd get some like bullshit. But if you managed to find a website that knew what it was talking about, you'd probably find Wheels on Meals, and you'd probably find Jackie Chan and Benny the Jet Urquidez. It is truly a tremendous work of martial arts on film, and this film is the sequel to that. I mean, it's not an actual sequel from a narrative standpoint, but it is a repairing of those two performers. So it's the second time that they've worked together, and it has a very, very different vibe. It has a very, very different pace. Their fight together, that is, but it is also quite good. I favor the Wheels on Meals contest between the two of them, but this one is quite good. The finale is absolutely bonkers, as is tradition in Hong Kong action cinema. It's kind of a uneven ride throughout the whole movie, as is the tradition in Hong Kong cinema. And kind of shockingly, Jackie Chan, if memory serves, is kind of a prick in this movie. I seem to remember there's a bit where he like slugs a lady in the face or slaps her real good or something. And it's kind of unwarranted. Like it's not a good thing. Like that she didn't have that coming. Like it just kind of comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh shit, Jackie just laid that lady out. Like, why? He plays like a lawyer in this or something. But anyway, I've said more than enough about this one. I'm very excited to see it on 4K, being as fucking theme for all of my picks this month. Apparently, I've only seen this on bootleg DVD, which I still currently own. So both families, both my family and the girlfriend's family, are helping me out with those ever necessary, ever important upgrades to my antiquated media.
So who got you that specifically? Was it your girlfriend's brother? Is that what you said?
That one came from her parents.
Her parent. They must like you, man. That's a good gift.
It's a fucking great gift.
You're doing good, dude. You're doing good.
Yeah, I got fucking plastic gold in my hands there. And the last one I have here, this one came from her brother, the girlfriend's brother, that is. I have here on 4K, The Princess Bride.
Ooh, nice. Very nice.
Which is a movie I have not seen since I was probably 13 years old. I remember one of my teachers exhibited the sword fight in this film for our classroom. I don't remember the context. I just remember he wanted us to see that, and because he thought it was cool or something. Cool guy. I liked him a lot. But yeah, I haven't seen this since I was like 13. I remember all the quotes and shit, but I don't have the connective tissue in my head. I don't remember what scene plays into what. So as a whole, it's almost like I don't remember the movie, if I'm being honest, aside from the copious amounts of quotables and whatnot. And more importantly, though, I know the girlfriend loves this movie. She actually knows this one frontwards and backwards. So this is still in the shrink wrap. Haven't opened it yet, but this is one I'm excited to rewatch with her, and remember it all over again while I'm watching it with her. Plus, it's on fucking 4K and it's from Criterion, so that's a pretty fucking cool gift. Directed by Rob Reiner, by the way.
Can you hold up the case again? Because I've heard about the storybook case. I've never actually really looked at it.
Yeah, it has a canvas material. It's kind of hard to see on.
Yeah, and then is the side is it like the inside? You know what I mean? Is it like?
No, it's got like a plastic framing.
Oh, okay.
So they did spare some expense.
Okay. Okay. But that does look cool though.
Oh yeah, no, the storybook motif is very appropriate.
Just a quick update. Best movie fight or best fight scene or whatever you told me to Google. Let's see, we got here. Number 1, Adam Sandler versus Bob Barker in Happy Gilmore.
What is it? Cite your source. Reveal your source so I can hunt them down.
Number 2, Fairuza Balk versus Robin Tunney in The Craft.
What?
Oh wait, no. Okay, no. This is just the MTV Movie Award for Best Fight. Oh yeah, that's just listed chronologically. Okay, never mind.
1994, I'm guessing.
1996 and 1997. So okay, yeah, that's not right. Okay, that's just unranked. Just okay.
I mean, I appreciate the bit, Brad. That was pretty great. I have actually seen the Bob Barker fight listed as a joke entry on a lot of those kinds of lists before.
Well, let me just go on, just to enrage you. The winner, MTV Movie Award for Best Fight, 1996, the inaugural year of the award. Happy Gilmore won Best Fight, beating out the likes of John Travolta versus Christian Slater in Broken Arrow.
Oh my God.
Pierce Brosnan versus Famke Jensen in GoldenEye. And obviously beating out, come on, duh. Obviously it beat out Jackie Chan versus Bad Guys in Rumble in the Bronx. Duh.
Jackie Chan versus Bad Guys.
That's what it says.
That's kind of great. I like that, how vague it is.
Yeah.
Just indulge me for 1 second, Brad. I'm sorry if anybody out there is bored by this tangent, but this is my life here. This is the stuff that I pop for. This is the stuff that interests me. You're in here with me. Other candidates, all I did here was Google 1996 movies, Brad. So I'm not going to dig deep. I'm just going to go with the things that Google throws in front of me. Just other candidates for that list. Twister, Carrie Elwes versus the F5. Put that in there.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
The Cable Guy, Matthew Broderick versus Jim Carrey.
That would be a good. I'm surprised that wasn't.
They
I
have
mean,
two
Cable Guy
fights
was
in that
kind
movie.
of
They have
like
two fights
hated
in that
on,
movie.
so that's probably why. Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised that wasn't. Yeah.
For real. I mean, Jim Carrey in 1996, he was on top of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man.
Snub.
Snubbed. Broken Arrow was that was. I mean, the movie. Have you seen that, by the way, Brad?
I've never seen Broken Arrow. No,
Oh, we got to review Broken Arrow, Brad.
I'm down. It's John Woo, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
I'm down.
his second American film after Ard Target, aka Hard Target. Yeah, I mean the opening of that movie is John Travolta punching Christian Slater's face in a boxing ring. It begins with a boxing motif and it concludes with a fist fight as well. Not that they're remarkable fights by any means, but the whole movie is built around that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't win Best Fight, so it can't be that
No,
remarkable.
nor should it. But yeah, just glancing at that. Oh wait, Leslie Nielsen versus what's his face? It's not Andy Warhol. He had a show on Nick at Night. Fuck. Spy Hard is the movie that I'm referencing here. It pisses me off that I can't remember this elderly gentleman's name. Anyway, Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith versus Leslie Nielsen in Spy Hard. That should have gotten Best Fight. Really? He rips his goddamn arms off. Wow, okay, tangent complete. We can move on.
Just to keep the tangent going for just a little bit longer. Just maybe to enrage you a little bit more.
Sure.
Jackie Chan, of course, he lost to Adam Sandler and Bob Barker that year for Rumble in the Bronx. He was nominated the next year for Best Fight for Jackie Chan versus Henchman for Jackie Chan's First Strike. Of course, he lost to The Craft, obviously.
Obviously.
1998, he didn't get a nomination. He was nominated for 1999, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker versus Chinese Gang in Rush Hour.
He lost to The Matrix, though.
No, because that would be the year after. So this was, I think they do it like the Oscars. Yeah. So no, he lost to not The Matrix, but similar. Ben Stiller versus Puffy the Dog in There's Something About Mary. Yes, 2000, the year 2000, The Matrix won. So, yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's easy.
And then finally, Jackie Chan wins in 2002 for previously he was nominated for Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker versus Chinese Gang. This year he wins Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker versus Hong Kong Gang in Rush Hour 2. So huge.
I kind of love that naming convention. Just Jackie Chan versus anonymous goons. So what, did he go up for his acceptance speech and just do the Degeneration X suck it?
I don't know.
After years of being snubbed.
I didn't even know this was an award, to be honest. This is kind of cool.
But that was kind of amazing, Brad. Thank you for looking that up.
The best part is starting in, what year does it start? In 2021, they split up Best Fight for Best Fight scripted versus unscripted. And they have a reality show fight section for unscripted fight.
I mean, that was a thing. Like that was good television back in the day.
Yeah. So Kourtney Kardashian versus Kim Kardashian won Best Unscripted Fight in 2021.
Oh, I didn't know they ever threw hands with each other.
I guess so. Yeah. They only did that for 2 years. This past year, they just cut. It's just fictional fights now. But.
We don't want to encourage that behavior.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean. We can conclude the tangent. Sorry if anyone was incredibly bored by that, but
dude, I'm loving this. This is great.
I am too. I'm just wary of
It's a holiday weekend, dude. This is fun, man.
No, I'm enjoying myself. I don't give a fuck. but I know people sometimes listen. So, last thought I'll say is that in my mind anyway, like traditionally, like a one-on-one fight scene kind of carries a certain level of prestige that somebody versus a crowd of anonymous goons doesn't quite hold the same level of prestige. Like Tony Jaa, for instance. Have you seen his movies, Brad?
I don't think so.
Ong Bak and Tam Yong Goong.
No.
Okay. He's Thai. He was a sensation. He still is kind of. He's like national treasure, honestly. he was kind of adopted by Chinese martial arts cinema at one point. Like when there was like a dearth of talent in Chinese martial arts cinema, they're like, how about that Thai guy? Like Thailand's not that far away. He's an honorary member, but he's great. He's a truly dynamic performer. Ong Bak was advertised as like the anti-Matrix kind of, whereas like it came out hot on the heels of quote wire fu, where like wire work and special effects were kind of running rampant through action choreography schools of thought in the time he was getting started. And he arrived on the scene, and the whole concept behind his movies was we don't have any wires. He doesn't have any stuntmen. He just does it. Like he's the jackass of martial artists on film. Anyway, he has numerous scenes in his filmography that are incredible, but it's him killing 100 people with his elbows and knees. And for some reason, Jackie Chan fighting Benny the Jet Urquidez for 3 minutes holds a bigger place in my memory, just because it's two guys. It's not one guy versus a bunch of guys who some of which I recognize. Like I think Ron Smorenberg shows up there to get his leg broke at some point, but a lot of people got their legs broke in that scene, and it all kind of starts to turn into just a morass of limbs being shattered at some point. But anyway, tangent over. Brad, do you have any more holiday haul picks?
Yeah, I got a few here I can mention. Well, I was gifted. I believe this was Christmas. I believe it was a Christmas gift from my wonderful girlfriend. I was given the Barbie movie on 4K.
Yeah.
She was stressed about because she was like, "Oh, can I get you a movie?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, how about Barbie?" And I was like, "Make sure you get it on 4K." And she was very stressed about making sure she bought the right format. But she did great. And I also have a movie that I already brought up and mentioned, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, where you can go inside the stunts and more, certified fresh.
And more.
and more, and more. That is a sticker, certified fresh, as part of the cover.
Oh.
And this one, I was curious. I kind of like put my mom was like, "Oh, what can I get you?" I put this on as a bit of a challenge for her. I said, let's see how she does. Because I had heard it was selling out everywhere. I said, "Oh, why don't you? How about Oppenheimer?" And she did get her hands on a copy of Oppenheimer.
Wow, she did it.
Yep. And I think it goes to show because, I don't know if you had heard, but like the physical copies of it were selling out everywhere. Like you couldn't even get it online, which is really cool. And I think the fact that like she got it, but no slipcover, I think because it was probably a second pressing, which is, it sucks for me, but it's cool that it's selling so well,
Brad's eyes involuntarily twitching as he says it's okay.
No. The thing is when you have when my 4K collection, when I only had like let's say 20 4Ks, it's like they all had slipcovers, and it's like if one didn't, it was like, oh yeah, it doesn't have a slipcover. And I still like having slipcovers just because I like the uniformity of it. But now my collection is so, not that the 4K collection specifically is so big, but one or two 4Ks here or there that are missing a slipcover, it's not a huge deal. Like I'm over it. I'm not losing any sleep at night. But of course I still like to have it just because, those are limited. So you just, what you, if you can get it obviously, but
but limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I'm glad your girlfriend got you the Barbie, and she accomplished the task of making sure she got the right format, and it looks like she got the slipcover too. So
Yep.
Well done.
She was
and also
stressed
it helps that
it didn't say Blu-ray on it, so that's why she was stressed. But I'm like, this 4K, you should be good. You're good.
It helps that it's a pretty good movie too.
Yeah.
Like she got you a good one. I saw that one. We rented it. My girlfriend and I. We watched it, and actually, she was considering getting that for me as well because she wants to rewatch it. And she was like, "Well, I don't have a movie collection, but you do. Like,
Right.
How about I just get it for you, and then I can ask if you want to watch it sometime."
So it's a win-win for both of us because she'll watch it again, obviously too. So
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. I would rewatch that one for sure. But on the topic of slipcovers, though, just like we'll get back to your other picks there. I just wanted to hold this up because this is the shit that pisses me off. This is, you know what really grinds my gears? This shit. Where I have the Creed films here in my hand.
Oh yeah,
Notice how one of these is not like the others.
yeah. That,
um, I only have uh, the first Creed without the slipcase, without the slipcover. That shit pisses me off.
that does hurt. That does hurt.
It does hurt, man. I hate that shit.
I've never, done it, but I have looked up like slipcover prices on eBay. Just curious, and I don't think I would ever do it, but the option is there. That's one good thing. Even if you miss out on the slipcover, if you think like if money is no object, the option is always going to be there. You can always get it if you want it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked. I don't know if this is the case with you at all, but I do shop at secondhand stores a lot. I have access to places that have vast movie libraries that I can pour over locally, and quite a few of them still have the covers on them. Like the shelves are lined with movies that still have slipcovers, even like 4Ks and stuff. So it's neat being able to pick up something secondhand that's like, oh, this was the first pressing of this. Apparently nobody thought ahead to the eBay game of like taking the slipcover and selling the movie separate from each other or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to. My theory might be not holding water here. I'm trying to see if I can find a Creed slipcover for you on eBay, and it doesn't look like.
Could it be that it never actually got one?
No, I see one. I see the movie listed here with slipcover.
Okay.
I'm not seeing a slipcover only.
Yeah, it's fine. I will survive. That's really cool though that you got Oppenheimer without the slipcover, but you still got Oppenheimer during a stretch of time where it has been hard to come by. I haven't actively been looking, but it's kind of interesting to see that penetrate just the slightest amount of like mainstream news.
Yeah.
Like even like my girlfriend's dad knew about that.
Oh yeah.
I was like, how the fuck do you know about that?
That's
Like, that's
cool,
my
man.
shit. What the fuck are you doing poking around my shit?
He's on blu-ray.com. He might be a secret Blu-ray lover, maybe.
I mean, maybe like it could be that like maybe I'm getting to him. Like I've been talking about it enough around him that he's starting to get into it because he is an audiophile. Like he's a technophile. He likes audiovisual things to be as good as they can be, and he let slip that he owns a physical disc of Oppenheimer, so he got one.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have a movie collection, but he got that one. So,
well,
I don't know what the fuck's going on at his house, but
it might be the first drop in a soon-to-be large puddle or large pool. Could be the first drop.
Could be. I could have created a monster.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows, man?
Oh, I tell you, I mean, like, yeah, if he's a big tech guy, like once he watches, he's gonna watch Oppenheimer and be like, "Oh, this looks amazing." If his setup is done correctly, which hopefully it will be. Knowing him,
Brad, his setup is good.
Okay, so he's not gonna have motion smoothing on or some garbage like that, or
no.
All right,
he knows his shit. Like he's on top of it. He's not your Uncle Ernie.
he's gonna watch Oppenheimer and then go back and watch, Family Switch on Netflix and be like, oh, I pay for Netflix 4K. It's gonna look great, and he's gonna be like, holy hell, what's that compression I'm seeing there? That looks like trash. I gotta watch Family Switch on physical.
I hate that not everybody notices that. Like it's so frustrating to me.
I don't know how you can not, unless my internet is so bad, but I don't know how you can not, because I see it at my house. When I go to other people's houses and watch something on streaming, it looks like shit. Unless everybody in my orbit has horrible internet, then I don't know how you can not see it, because it's like any like nighttime or dark scene, the compression is insane.
Yeah, actually, like I don't have like an amazing sound setup. All I have is like a sound bar. But actually, like sound has been something that I've been noticing lately. Is that like on the disc, it has more oomph to it. Like it sounds better just objectively to me. But yeah, the compression it's evident. Like I noticed it. I'm not a big fan. It bothers me.
Yep. And I just also don't like, like, I don't know, knowing, because, depending on your internet, like, it's like, is this always going to be a consistent, like, even if you have like 4K Netflix or whatever, is it always going to be consistent quality, or is the quality going to dip in and out? And which it often does on a lot of, like, I know Max does that a lot for me. Like the quality
Max
will,
was terrible for
yeah,
me. Max
yep,
was unwatchable for me. I
hmm
had to I had to mirror it from my laptop using a Chromecast. It
yep.
straight up wouldn't play on my TV. It would halt. It would buffer. It just would not play.
See, mine doesn't like halt or buffer. It just like will, like, the quality will drop, and it will do it very frequently. Like every 5 to 10 minutes, like it will drop to like 480. Like it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, no, my Peacock the other day, just turned. It looked like somebody just smeared their ass across the frame.
Yeah.
Like it was unintelligible. It was just garbage.
Like I'm trying to watch the King of Queens in HD and we're dropping to 480. What's going on here?
For some reason, whenever you mention King of Queens, the first reference that comes to mind is Jerry Stiller as a child slamming his hand on a counter and yelling, "Lemon ice!" I don't know why that was the thing that came to mind, but I mean, anytime you think of Jerry Stiller, it's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dead Reckoning. Have you watched it yet, or you think you're gonna wait for the sequel?
Yeah, I probably will wait until the sequel comes out to revisit it. And yeah, maybe I'll throw on a couple of the action sequences. Although I didn't see this one with Lizzie, so maybe I will watch it before then.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. If she hasn't seen it, then absolutely you should watch it together.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I actually, because I saw it with Bobby, we did the review, and I was like, oh, I want to see that again in theaters. I want to, and I was just thinking like, oh, I want to go see it in IMAX, even knowing that Oppenheimer was opening that next weekend. I was like, oh, they'll, just assuming like, oh, they'll split showtimes, or there'll be at least a couple showtimes of Mission Impossible. And they didn't have any IMAX showtimes, and just with the Barbie and Oppenheimer thing, and I never got to see it again in theaters. It, like, that the Barbenheimer thing really did kill it, because like I wanted to see it more times in theaters, and I just ran out of time. Too many movies, more movies came out. It was gone out of theaters too quick. Like it just like, yeah, it was really bad timing. So
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. It's a very strange time for movies in the theater. Barbenheimer
mhm.
just kind of took all the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for Deck Reckoning Part Two. I mean, that first one, I did we review that, or was it Bobby? Because I seem to remember talking to somebody about that one.
I think we did it. I think we did an episode for your show, I want to say.
Oh, oh, you reviewed it twice then. Holy
Yeah,
shit!
because that was another thing. I said I was gonna see it again. I was like, "Oh, I'll see it again for before we talk about it," and I didn't. And you saw it, and then you were more fresh on it. That's right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I agreed with you that it is like one of the lesser ones in the franchise, probably second worst, honestly, of a generally very good franchise. But he gave you enough that it's like I wouldn't say it's terrible, I wouldn't say it's bad, um, and I'm really curious to see what they do with that next one. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, so I'm tapped out on picks, Brad. How about you? Do you got any other business you want to talk about?
I mean, I think that's about it. I think that's about it.
All right. Well, that was a good episode, man.
Yeah,
That was a
this was
great
solid.
holiday haul. Yeah,
Yep.
we
Yeah.
both got gifted some great shit. You bought yourself some really incredible shit. I I am serious. You probably should put that folk horror thing out for everybody to see. Like it needs to be seen. It's beautiful.
For the like every 2 months when I have guests over or whatever like that. I don't have enough people over as often enough as it would make it worth it to put out on the coffee table. But
Yeah, just keep sipping and like looking down. Like
yeah, you guys see that? Anything
you,
catch your eye down there?
anybody gonna say anything? Good times, good times. But yeah. So this draws to a close. 2023 is a year, but also this edition of Tales from the Shelf. But before we go, I'd just like to say thanks, Brad, for joining me today. This was a shit ton of fun. Um, And before we go, would you care to let our listeners and hopefully viewers know where they can find your super awesome podcast?
Yeah, so it's the Cinema Speak podcast. We're on anywhere you find podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. You can follow us online on Twitter or X at the Cinema Speak, on Instagram as Cinema Speak Podcast, and on YouTube as Cinema Speak. And you can find us on the web at cinemaspeak.libsyn.com.
Very cool. Nicely done, sir. And yeah, thanks again for joining me today, man.
Absolutely.
As for myself and Catching Up on Cinema, you can find all of our episodes collected on our website at catchinguponcinema.com. You can also find us on the social medias in the form of the Instagram at Catching Up on Cinema, as well as the Twitter / I guess it's fucking official now, X at Catching Cinema. So feel free to hit me up at either of those. And the podcast is available on pretty much every platform you can imagine, including Bitcade. So fucking Google it. And that being said, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time and in the next year. So yeah, let's say bye, Brad. Bye.
Peace out, 2023. See you later.